This is Taylor Schaefer from Morgan James Publishing, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Melissa Ann McDaniel, author of Who Will Love Me. It is so great to be able to talk to you today, and thank you so much for joining me for your living room edition of your book launch. And I do have a couple of questions, so I'd love to dive right in and go ahead and get those answered. So my first question for you today is, what inspired you to write Who Will Love Me?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in 2018, I heard the words, "If you do not see her, be her." And for me, that meant that I needed to step out and share my story of life after sexual assault. With the hashtag #MeToo swirling around, I could see it happened to me in this location, and I was this age, and the conversation didn't seem to go much further. So in stepping out to be her, I wanted to take that conversation further. I also always desperately longed to see myself mirrored in another. And because sexual assault and the aftermath of sexual assault isn't something that's openly talked about, I wanted to know I wasn't the only one who cried on the kitchen floor because the weight was too much to bear. I wanted to know I wasn't the only one that struggled to build meaningful relationships. And so as this calling, "If you do not see her, you need to be her," kept growing louder, I knew it was time, and it was time to share my story in the form of a book with the intention of supporting sexual assault survivors in feeling seen, heard, and loved.
Yes, wonderful. I think that's beautiful. And I think it's inspiring in and of itself that you had the strength to be able to put it down into words and on pages for those to let others know as well they're not alone. And then my next question is, what does the title mean?
Yes. So I always wondered who would love me if they really knew who I was on the inside. And I was 20 years old when I was sexually assaulted. I was in college on a full ride scholarship, living the dream. And this took my whole world by surprise. I up and had to move to a new location. I was advised by family members not to tell anybody what happened. So although I was still going through the legal process, I only talked to my counselor and attorneys about what was going on. And I was leading this double life of this perfect college girl who's working at Applebee's, volunteering at the Children's Hospital, while yet I still had all of these other things going on that I was dealing with. And I honestly thought that nobody would love me if they truly knew who I was on the inside. If they truly knew that I struggled with PTSD, if they knew that I was the woman crying on the kitchen floor. And so for me, the title, "Who Will Love Me," resonated so much when that came, because it's a question I constantly ask myself. And I don't ask myself that anymore. I know that I'm freaking lovable. We're all lovable, right? And it stems from that ability to learn that even if I'm crying on the kitchen floor, I am so freaking lovable.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So that's where the title came from.
it's beautiful. And what can sexual assault survivors learn from Who Will Love Me?
So that's also a great question. And I think my biggest hope that sexual assault survivors take from Who Will Love Me is, one, that they are lovable, that they can have meaningful relationships. And the weird things that happen that don't make any sense, and the triggers, those are okay. Those are information for you. Those are also things to be loved. They're not things to hate yourself for. You're not disgusting. You did nothing wrong. And so my hope is that they learn that with everything that happened to them, they're still whole and beautiful.
Yes, most definitely. And I think the book is extremely important. And I think it's also important as well for viewers and other sexual assault survivors to connect with you more personally and whatever may be. And where can those viewers, those who may be watching and will be watching, connect with you?
Yeah, so they can find me on Instagram at melissa.ann.mcdaniel. You can also go to my website, melissaannmcdaniel.com, and I'm on Facebook as well, Melissa Ann McDaniel.
Okay, perfect. So simple, easy, Melissa
Right?
and Daniel.
Look at me there.
That's perfect. So thank you so much for joining me today, Melissa. This was so wonderful, so inspiring, and such a beautiful story to put on words, and just very, very inspiring. And thank you everyone at home that is watching this living room edition of Melissa's book launch. And it's so great to have everybody, so great to have you. And check out Melissa Ann McDaniel's book, Who Will Love Me, on all platforms. It's available through all major online retailer sites. So thank you again, Melissa.
Well, thank you.